name's Mick, and I'm part of the ministry team here at Skipton. And it's my pleasure to introduce the character of Zechariah to you in our series of Advent videos. In all of this series, we're looking at what in this person's life or story directs us to Christ. We find Zechariah and his wife Elizabeth in chapter 1 of the book of Luke. We're told that Zechariah was serving as a priest in the temple and that he'd been chosen to serve incense at the temple altar. Elizabeth, Zechariah's wife, was a descendant of the priest families of Israel, and her father was a temple priest. Zechariah was also a temple priest, and both he and Elizabeth were, we are told, righteous and upright before God. They were both quite old, and Elizabeth was unable to have children, a source of great shame in that culture. Whilst Zechariah was performing his duty at the altar, the angel Gabriel suddenly appeared to him and said, "Do not be afraid, but I'm here to tell you that you and Elizabeth are going to have a baby. You're going to call him John, and he's going to prepare a way for the one who's going to be the Messiah." It's not surprising that Zechariah is a little bit skeptical, to say the least, and he asked Gabriel what I think was a sensible question along the lines of, "Who, me? Are you sure? Liz and I are getting on a bit. We're past all that." And I love this next bit. I imagine Gabriel stamping his feet and saying in exasperation, with his hands on his hips, "Because you doubt me, I'm going to make you mute until the baby's born. Take that." It seems that angels have some difficulty in expressing themselves about miracles and being believed. I'm reminded about a similar incident in Genesis 18, when Abraham and Sarah were told that they too would have a child. Sarah just laughed. She was too old, but she did in fact have a child, just as the angel said. You can't blame Zechariah or Sarah even. These births were indeed miraculous. But I see the contrast that when Gabriel appears to Mary, Elizabeth's cousin, and she just a virgin girl, she accepted his message, saying, "I'm the Lord's servant, and may it be to me as you've said." Zechariah goes home to Mary. He was struck speechless. Imagine him explaining to Elizabeth what had occurred, just using his hands. They, of course, did conceive, and 9 months later, the baby arrived. There was a dispute over the child's name, but when Zechariah insisted on the name of John, as instructed by Gabriel, his speech was returned to him, and he prophesied and praised God. I think that there are two aspects to this story which point to God, the micro and the macro. One is the human story of the joy that Zechariah and Elizabeth felt about having a son and being freed from the shame of being barren. Secondly, as Tom Wright says in his commentary on Luke, it's all about the great fulfillment of God's promise and purpose. When God acts on the large scale, the macro, he takes care of smaller human concerns as well. The drama which now takes centre stage is truly the story of God, the world, and every ordinary human being who has ever lived in it. May God bless you this Christmas.